Yay Networks.
At some point, you choose which way you want to go. And for me, it was the kitchen. And that's how I end up just sticking with the kitchen and learning all the experience being in France, jumping from one restaurant to another, and just getting to learn, all the culture that we have in France, especially culinary wise, because you can go from one region to another. It's all different. So I was really taking that experience going from one region to another, just to have that experience with other chefs that were teaching me all the techniques and of those regions.
A quick note before we dive into today's podcast. If you like what you hear, I would love for you to subscribe to Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, wherever you download your podcast. It would also be incredible if you take a minute to rate and review this podcast. Those things do matter, and they really help us. I'm Molly Kimball. Welcome to Fueled, a wellness and nutrition podcast. I'm a registered dietitian and nutrition journalist with a passion to help people live their strongest, healthiest life possible. In my weekly TV segments and columns, there's a limited amount of time and space to cover everything, but there's so much more to share. This podcast is my opportunity to dive deeper into the topics you want to know about. So right as this episode is dropping, today actually, we are kicking off the second weekend of Jazz Fest here in New Orleans. And I'm excited that we're joined today by one of my favorite food vendors out at Jazz Fest. So the reality is we have so many amazing, talented food vendors that we work with out there. We have these Eat Fit options out at Jazz Fest with so many of these vendors, and I truly love them all. So I can't say that I'm really playing favorites here, but I sort of am. Today's guest is Charlie Mendy. He is the co-proprietor of Gambian Foods out at Jazz Fest in the Congo Square food area. And Charlie and I recorded a TV segment just a few days ago. And as we were talking, it struck me that there's so much behind the scenes with all of us, of course, but I was seeing this with Charlie. There's just so much behind the scenes that we don't know. There's so much behind the scenes that shapes us. And in this case, it has shaped the person that Charlie is, the career that he's created and the successes that he's had. So if you go out to Jazz Fest, make your way out to Congo Square, stop by Gambian Foods, say hello to Charlie. You'll see that he exudes such warmth, such acceptance. He brings anyone and everyone into his sphere of love and happiness and celebration. And you feel it. It's just so pure. It's so genuine. I also kind of have a feeling that it's probably not something that just simply happened or just that he is that way. I think that there's probably a lot to that, but there's probably so much more that we just can't even have any idea. Again, like with all of us, there's so much more of our backstory that we would just have no way of knowing, of the experiences, the life that Charlie's lived, the experiences that have shaped him into the person that he's today, this person who does bring this positivity and joy into all that he does. So Charlie was born in the Gambia. It's on the upper west coast of Africa. He and his mother left the Gambia when he was 8, and life brought him, we'll be talking more about this, but just to kind of give y'all a snapshot, life brought him to France. He went to culinary school in France. Then he started this new life in New Orleans. He's had restaurants over the years, Gambian Foods out at Jazz Fest. This is their 30th year out there, by the way. He also works to provide housing and shelter for others who don't have the means to do this for themselves. So this path, this journey, this life, it's one thing to say all this. And when you say that, it's a paragraph, it's sentences that we're putting together. This is sort of the path that his life has taken. It's one thing to say that, but these are really big things. And how does each of these happen? What did it look like? What did it feel like? So I asked Charlie if he'd be open to doing this raw truth episode with me, and I'm really excited that he's down for it. I'm grateful that he said yes so that we can understand more, learn more, and be inspired by his journey, be inspired by the experiences that he's had. I think especially the choices that he's made, the mindset that he's created for himself, and really the world that he's created for himself. It's so different from what many of us, if not perhaps most of us who are listening to this, it's so different from what we've experienced. And I think that there's also so much that we can learn from it. So with that, welcome, Charlie.
Molly, thank you very much. I will start with just saying that I am grateful. Gratitude is just flowing in my veins. every single day. I'm just very, very grateful to you. And yes, we've been knowing each other for a while. Um, uh, just I've lived so many lives, and born in the Gambia, um, all the way to the age of 8. I left with my mom to France, and
Was it just the two of you who
just,
left?
just the two of us. And at that time, my other siblings did join us, but several years after.
So they stayed, y'all left. And, you say it so casually. My mother and I left when I was 8, but my guess is y'all didn't just pack your bags and catch a flight to France. What is it to leave the Gambia with your mom?
Well, it's education. My mom wanted to give me the opportunity to have a higher education and being in France and also experiment the culture and just being there. Went to school and then made great friends. By the way, when I was in France, I couldn't speak a word in French.
That's what I'm thinking, right? It's a lot, right?
And it was just, I was just so mesmerized by the language. And I quickly have friends that were very kind and just very helpful and just inspired me to really get into the language. And through just those friends, I picked up the language in 6 months.
So you were pretty fluent in 6 months.
6 months. Right.
At 8, I feel like our brains are so much more like they can be saturated, like I wonder if in 6 months now that would be really hard. But at that age, it's like you're this open book, So you had your other siblings stay behind. Your mom said, she came with you. As you arrived in France, did you have a place to stay? Did she know where she was going? What did that look like?
Well, it was well put together. We had a specific place where we were staying in south of France, exactly in Toulon, right next to Marseille and Aix-en-Provence, and not far from Saint-Tropez, Nice, southern part of France. That's really, really beautiful. And that's where I started going to school. And by the time you know it, sports was something that was very, very, common. Kids out there, they don't have time to just wander around. We were very active, and sports was our way out. Just to play with friends and also neighborhood clubs. So I joined the football, which
Right.
Which you guys call soccer,
Right.
Yes, yeah, and that's where I started playing the game.
And that probably opened up so many doors and friendships
Very
along the
much.
way. Did you play sports back in the Gambia?
Oh yeah, we played football, in such a natural way where we'll make our own football by just putting socks together.
No.
We'll go
And then kick it around?
and just kick it around, And you'll be surprised, we'll spend hours just playing, friends coming from the neighborhood, the community. We just share. There was
Right.
this sense of community where what I have is yours and what's yours is mine. And that sense of sharing was very, 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 it was just amazing.
Did you have a real soccer ball in the Gambia, or was that not until you arrived in France?
No, not until I arrived to France.
You were like, wow, what is this? And it was probably like, it's a whole different impact on you.
This is luxury here.
Right.
Look at this leather. Look at this ball,
Right.
nice and round
The-
and comfortable.
How many siblings do you have?
We are 25 altogether.
Wow.
I know.
And so it was just you that left first.
It's me that left first. And so,
25 siblings.
that's correct. And by the way, 25 is that my dad had 4 wives. So, but we were all one in the compound. There was no difference. Matter of fact, I didn't know who was my real mom all the way to the age of, I would say, 6, around that age, because they just have this sense of community. And it was just a good understanding that it's a team. Our dad was there, and we have all these wonderful mothers that just took care of all of us as their own children. So we didn't see the difference.
You didn't
Not at all.
know anything else.
Not at all. Right. And that was very, very rich, to live that life and just women caring on all those kids, but with so much love and just care, and we were not missing anything.
And then when you got to France, you were probably like, wait a second, it's totally different, And the area of France that you moved to first there's such it's very areas of it that are very high end, very affluent. I would imagine it was like such a contrast from where you came.
Totally. The life and the area was just totally different from where I came from. And,
was there acceptance, or were people like, you know how anytime someone's new coming in, how did that, was there acceptance, or was there maybe pushback?
I would say in my case, I was just so grateful. I was a kid that just have this sense of, energy, I will call it. And I would just attract people very easily, and, make friends very easily. And in all shapes of life, the haves not.
Right.
And that was my comfort zone.
It's your gift also. It's a gift.
Yes.
Because for so many people in that, it could be a really hard transition. But I think it's that spirit inside of you that it's truly a gift to be able to have that connection with people in a completely new place, completely new language, new cultures. How did school evolve, and then going to culinary school in France? What was kind of the path? Because that's really cool.
Oh yeah,
that can really kind of take you anywhere. After
school was very, very fun. Again, I arrived, and I was the kid that didn't speak the language, so everyone was just so enthusiastic and curious, and they were so ready to help and teach me the language. So that's why I really dive into the language very quickly, because they were all just wanting to to teach me the language. And on top of that, not only the kids and the students, the teachers also, because from the get-go, they saw that I was very intrigued by the language, interested in studying. And again, I was one of those students where I was very serious in doing what the teachers need me to do. So they will even take extra time of their class just to help me, accelerate, catch up with what I needed to catch up with. And that's the reason why, in 6 months I was just
could speak it.
Exactly.
And so your mom saying, we want to, because the Gambia is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's the culture that your family knew. So for her to say, we're leaving what we know, we're going to this place that we don't know. And for her to have the foresight to do that, to look for, I want to have education for my son. I want to have these other opportunities for my son, for her to have that foresight. And then I think it's so much for her, because it's one thing to think that or wish that or want that, but then to actually take the steps to do that, it's a lot of nerve. It's a lot of strength it takes to make that change.
Well, that's the reason why, again, my passion and my dedication to women, because my mother was just so dedicated, have so much love, and just have so much respect, and instill in me that, listen, women are the one that really make this world go around. So I know that from day one. So guys, let's not be fooled, I know we wear the pants, but I'm telling you, let's let's just put women in front of us, and we in a winning strike right there. Life is good. So that's what I took, that concept, that advice, and I ran with it. To this day.
And it drives what you do. So did she stay with you? Was she there through you growing up as a teenager? Was she still in France with you?
Yes. My mom always was around, and and on the line, and I have other brothers and sisters that just
that came
join us. So very quickly, we have this amazing family where we were friends and family, and we entertain each other.
Right.
There was no dull moment at the house, and just very inspiring. We help one another. We help mom, and one of the keys also that in our household was just always respect. There was no such thing as TV, even though TV was accessible to us, but that was not an option because it's a distraction. But we live together. We just have so much fun being together, and that was amazing.
And creating probably like play out of nothing, like the soccer ball out of socks. So going back to culinary school, what did that path look like? How did you know that this is something you were interested in?
Wow, that's a very good question and interesting story. Actually, the idea of culinary school started in, we went camping with my friends, and just holidays, and it was at least 10, 15 of us, and
how old were you about?
I was around 16.
And how old are you now, to give us perspective?
I am 58.
Okay. So 40 plus years ago.
That's
okay.
Right, yeah. Age is just something that
it's just a number.
That is correct. And I really live that. I always feel like I am, myself, whether it was 40 years back or now, and just, feel good about myself,
right.
being who I am, but anyway, we went to this camping trip, and, started, as food at camp, it's not that great. The organizers started putting food together. People were complaining about the food and this and that, and it just day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and then at some point I was like, you know what? It just dawned on me. It's like, let me give it a try. I'm inspired to do something. So I wake up very, very early in the morning, went fishing, and caught nice couple of fish, and at least 5 of them. I started cleaning the fish, putting it together, and made this dish, while everybody was sleeping at the time. So you can imagine, I was just so excited just to surprise everyone. And, no one had a clue that I was out there, sleeping. And,
fishing, and now cleaning and preparing.
I have some.
And you're a teenager, right?
Teenager at that age. So I was able to put together what we call a courboillon. It's basically fish with onions and garlic, all fresh vegetables and all that. Just put in a rich broth and let it simmer down for at least an hour. And then after that, you take all the fish plus the vegetables, put it on the side, and with the broth, you use it to cook the rice. And when I tell you, once I was done with that rice and all the put together, had a big bowl, just everything was just nicely put together. And then just all of a sudden, have a couple of my friends just wake up and was looking around. It's like, what's going on here?
What time is it? Right. They're like, breakfast.
About 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
People are thinking about sleeping. And here you are, what you doing? So of course, he saw what I put together. He was just amazed. Of course, when I wake everybody up, and the whole team just came by and surround this dish that I put together, and they were just mesmerized. Not only that, I was like, listen, Just taste. You tell me if it is good, great. If it is not good, just, at least I give it a try. And when I tell you they sat down and had so much pleasure, I was so pleased that I was just standing there and just watching them, just enjoying that food.
Like, I created this
Exactly.
with just nothing.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, that's all what it was. It was just love and energy that I put in there. And because when I was preparing it, I was putting that much into it. I care about these people. I love these people. And I just want them to just to enjoy something that I put together and to see their reaction and how actually they were feeling and how they were enjoying the food. I was like, this is it.
This is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do.
There's the energy and the love that you put into it. There's also what they gave back from that, and you think about how do we respond to others around us, and how our response, when it's truly genuine, can really drive someone to want to do their best, and you think about how many times, whether it's children or adults, are doing something and either we notice it or we don't say something, or maybe we give what might seem like an insincere, oh, this is so good, but when it's that genuine reaction, how much that can validate someone. It can really, it can be that one little vote of confidence that they need to say, this is, like you did, this is it, this is what I'm doing.
With no doubt. And that's really applies to life in general. I mean, that joy that I've seen through my friends, I noticed that also, that I have that energy in me that with children, it's, they call me the child whisperer. There's something about children that's so pure and so innocent. And I feel like I do have that energy that I just connect with them. I just always let children come to me. And when they do, it's just so magic. Most of the time it's just, they don't have enough. Then, I start just putting myself in a way that very playful and just get to their level. And they give you so much.
The attention to them, the love to them.
All that.
Yeah. Because it may be something that maybe they have very little of it. Sometimes, parents have a lot that's happening, or different jobs or other things that are pulls on their time, that just that undivided attention to children. My husband is really good at that with kids. We don't have kids, but I see that, and he is the same. It's that focus, that attention, and giving them that full attention, and the knowledge that they can have that safe space, and just being silly with them.
Totally. That's
totally
right.
Just being silly with them. We'll be at the park and like someone will come up, hey, Mr. Brad, and other friends are like, who are these children that know Brad? Just out in the community, little kids walking up. But yeah, it is. It's that. And then I think it's just a really nice reminder for ourselves that I think, for me, I think about different things that I've tried over the years, or different risks that I've taken.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of one of the things that I believe is, we have a bunch of ideas. We all have a bunch of ideas. And there's some ideas that are really good. There's some ideas that it's probably okay if we didn't pursue them. Right. There's just ideas. But then those ideas that we think might have that ability to be, either successful in whatever that is, or whatever it might be, that we're like, do I or don't I do this? Sharing that with someone that we trust. And sometimes it is truly just that one, like the green light from that person, that one point of validation that, yes, I think this matters. This is good. For me, that can be all I need. On the flip side, if there's a little bit of it can immediately shut it down. So I think it's important for us to, had you served that meal and someone maybe made, a comment, maybe it would have changed the whole trajectory
Of course.
of that,
Of course.
Yeah. So being mindful of that. So then from there, how did you apply to culinary school? You decided, you learned about these?
At that point, I, of course, went back home, told my mom, listen, I find my, my path. Like, what, your path at your age already? Like, yes, Mom, I just want to go to culinary school.
How does she feel about it?
Oh yeah, my mom is just very supportive by all means, and it's like the skies are off limit. Whatever you want to do in life and dream about, and just be that. You already have the foundation. Just don't limit yourself. So that was an easy conversation. Started going to school south of France and near Toulon, Saint-Jean-du-Var, right there. And that was my beginning of culinary school. It's a school that you go half a day and just learn practical aspect of being in the kitchen, and on the other side, you just learn the technicality of it. But it's a school that's so well put together, because not only we learning the real aspect of being in the kitchen, and also they teach you how to be a pastry chef, how to be a dishwasher, how to be a maitre d', sommelier. They teach you all aspect of the culinary restaurant entertainment business in that sense. So at some point, you choose which way you want to go. And for me, it was the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I end up just sticking with the kitchen and learning all the experience being in France, and jumping from one restaurant to another. And I just really getting to learn, all the culture that we have in France, especially culinary wise, because you can go from one region to another. It's all different. So I was really taking that experience, going from one region to another, just to have that experience with other chefs that were teaching me all the techniques and of those regions.
You knew the value of that then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right away.
It wasn't just by chance that you were like, I'm traveling through France and working under all these chefs. So you knew this is an incredibly valuable experience.
Without a doubt, if there's a place of, for me, France is the mecca of food. You cannot get it better than France. They understand the chemistry, the dynamics of food, and also just serving it, in a very artistic way, and the language of it, and just being in that environment of basically pleasing people, taking care of people, and just really all about people.
Well, when you and I did the TV segment a few days ago, I was laughing as I arrived, because so many times, it's different when we have a guest chef who joins me. Sometimes there's, they have all the extras with it. And then sometimes it's just a pot. And so I've started bringing a, kind of a wooden decorative cutting board and some different linens and whatever flowers I happen to have. And so it was some from our neighbor who's out of town, and said, oh, cut these. It was like these kind of knockout roses. They were on their last leg, but they still look decent. And they were in kind of a rustic pot. And I thought, let me bring these cool linens, and this, I'll bring this for Charlie in case he doesn't have anything. I walk in. I don't even it looked like you had hired a stylist for a magazine shoot. I walked in and these roses were on their last leg. It was a windy morning and the wind was blowing some of the petals off the roses. So I come in with these
It's the intention that counts. Molly.
Now these roses, they're so raggedy looking. And I'm so Charlie has these two beautiful flower arrangements filled with roses and all types of other wildflowers. I'm like, did you buy clearly you hired a stylist and paid a few $1,000s for this. You did it all yourself.
That's great.
And as you and I were talking, I kept kind of looking over your shoulder, because you had this beautiful platter with these kind of the handles that had a type of a stone with just beautiful. Every element of what Charlie brought, you just wanted to touch it and look at it. It was so beautiful, and it added it I'm sure it comes from that experience in France, that you have this beautifully prepared food, this food that is quality ingredients and beautifully prepared, but then also everything else that's with it brings that whole experience.
The eyes. We have to please the eyes. And for me, same thing. I was just looking forward to be among you guys. So that was part of just spending the whole night, just putting everything together and, intentionally and putting my spirit, again, my love into it and just being creative with it. Just ideas were coming, from left and right, playing with tomatoes, making roses out of them.
Yes. Yes.
So it's so much fun. It's so much joy. And you just want to share that with people.
And Charlie is so gracious. He said, "No, let me make room for those flowers." I said, "No." But we're leaving everything on the other table here. Like, you've got it covered. It was just stunning. And it's that the thought that goes into it, the care that goes into it, yet also I feel like if I had done that and then someone walks in with these all raggedy things that I had brought that were all windblown by that point, I don't know that I would have been as gracious as you to say, "Let me clear some space and put it here," but you did. So from there, you're working through different restaurants, working under different chefs, learning that experience. How did it come for you to move to the U.S.? And at what age did you move to the U.S.?
US, I was 25, 26. Again, you have to forgive me. Age is just not something that clicks in my mind.
But in your 20s.
In my 20s. And one of my oldest brothers was already here in New Orleans, who's a doctor and has been living here for quite a while.
Did he go to medical school in the U.S.? Or?
He went to medical school in Bristol, Virginia.
Okay.
And moved to New Orleans. And he was quite an influence in the community. He even have a radio station at the OZ called the African Journey. And on top of that, being a medical doctor, very, very humble guy, but just good at what he does.
What type of physician?
He's specialized in tropical disease.
Okay. Is he still here?
Charlie Mendy, yes.
Okay.
Dr. Mendy. He's my oldest brother, and have so much respect and love for my oldest brother. He's just amazing. It just gives me chill when I talk about it. That's how much love I have for my brothers and sisters. So very, very proud of him. He's amazing.
And so he reached out and said, "This is amazing. This is a beautiful place."
We haven't seen each other for 10 years, so just a phone call. He just called me and said, "Hey, you have to come and check out this place called New Orleans. I've been here, for a while, having fun with it. I really, really like this place. You should come." It's like, "Hey, Gaboo, I'm good. I'm in France. I've already settled. I have everything." And so he's like, "No, just come." So I was like, "Okay, let me come." I came
just to visit.
Just to visit. Of course, I came and visit, and a week later, I spent 2-3 days later. 2-3 days here in New Orleans. A week later, I went back to France and sold everything that I have and moved to New Orleans. And at that point, it was history. We opened our first restaurant called Paris Dakar. It was a French, African, and Mediterranean restaurant. Same thing. It was just very diverse. And Paris Dakar, matter of fact, it's a race that goes from France to West Africa. Dakar is the capital of Senegal, of course. And so I just created a cuisine, within those regions.
How long after you arrived in New Orleans did you open your first restaurant here?
After 6 months, we just right away dive into it.
Did your brother go into that with you? Or?
Yes,
yeah, that's cool.
He was my partner, and we we found this location on South Carrollton, by the way, where Lebanon's Cafe is, and so that's we built this space and to accommodate our concept, and stayed there for several years, and had a wonderful experience. And from that point, sold the restaurant, and that's where actually where the experience of jazz festival started.
While you still had that restaurant.
While we had the restaurant.
And how did that come about?
It came about, again, my brother, who's one of the board of directors of Jazz Fest. And
is he still?
He's not.
Because it sort of changes, it rotates,
It did change, but
at
that
the time,
he was among the board of directors for about at least 20 years. And he's the one who came up with the idea. It was like, listen, you should consider having a booth at Jazz Fest.
And for people who are not from New Orleans, I'm sure anyone's heard of Jazz Fest, but to be a food vendor at Jazz Fest, it is like, I guess, tell us about it, because you can't even explain. It's not like, oh, you're there for a couple of weekends and it is a monumental undertaking.
No, Jazz Festival is such an amazing experience. And matter of fact, the way to get in, we have to prepare 2-3 dishes, and we have 20 people that will comment on the quality of your food.
It's like juried acceptance.
Totally. So out of those 20 juries, you have to have at least 15 of them that like what you.
And that's every year.
No, that's just
the first time.
One first time.
Okay, so you do that the first time, but then once you're in, they expect that same quality, but you don't have to go in front of this jury
totally
every year. That would be like, it'd be so hard, to know. Okay, so that first time, were you like, was it intimidating? Did you feel like, were you pretty confident they might like it? Were you like, if they don't, it's okay?
No, I was very confident because again, I'm just a people pleaser, so I did put the effort knowing that, they really.
This is good.
This is good, right?
The presentation, I'm sure you had it beautiful. What dishes did you do back then? Because I know what you have on your menu now. Which of those dishes were put in front of the jury there?
At that time, we had it's basically a Philly steak, which I used to call it the steak bomb. These are nice quality tenderloin steaks, grilled with onions, peppers, and mushrooms, and with some African spices. We stuffed that in a pita bread, and just like a packet, and just absolutely tasty.
And you still have the version of that.
I still
and
have
the name of it now is?
It's the steak pita.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at that point, then I started adding other dishes.
So was that the first one you started with, or did you have a second dish with it, or that was the one you had in front of them?
That's the first one I had in front of them.
Okay.
And then my next round was just totally geared towards vegan and vegetarians, of course. And that's became, of course, my absolutely favorite. Because from day one, I always have this, conscious of that food should be simple, healthy, and just tasty. It's cooking is not that difficult. Everybody can cook. If you just put your love, your spirit, and your energy in it, you'll make amazing dishes with that.
Tell us about the second dish you did, that vegan one.
The vegan one was I made grilled vegetables, with squash and peppers and how do you call it, mushrooms, and just a variety of vegetables, and also in a bowl. And I also made a peanut sauce, which is totally fresh ground peanuts with pureed onions, fresh tomatoes, garlic, and parsley, and just let that simmer down.
And spices.
And
no sugar, because so many times the peanut sauce is really salty or really sugary, but this is just like flavor in there. I was lamenting that you had the big quart of peanut sauce when we were at the TV station, and I lamented later, why did I not ask for some of that?
Matter of fact, everybody just shared everything right away.
I figured that.
They're all gone. Everybody took some and they ate. I left there with empty containers,
So that was the second dish that you introduced. And that's one that is, completely, Eat Fit approved. It's with couscous, but Charlie is so accommodating with anyone who comes up to the booth there, the Gambian Foods booth there, that if someone says, I want it without couscous, or I want it Eat Fit style, double veg, and the tofu and that peanut sauce is just so good. I didn't realize it was as I was looking into a little bit more about the Gambia, as you and I were preparing for this, that peanuts are one of the
that's correct.
One of the more, I guess, the one of the primary crops. Am I right to come out of there?
Totally. Peanut is just something that Gambians we have a lot of that. We grow a lot of peanuts and also cashews.
And so that was sort of a natural fit
Correct.
to go into this dish.
Yes.
So Jazz Fest started 30 years ago. Now it's tremendous. How many, just to even share with the listeners, like what does the volume look like that y'all do each year?
Wow, it's wild. I will say at least we serve between 1,000 to 1,500 people a day.
A day.
Correct.
And there's 7 days this year. There will be 8 days of Jazz Fest.
8 days. That's correct.
And between 1,000 and 1,500.
That's lots of fun.
Yes. Yeah. Is it, for the most part, people, and those of you who are familiar with Jazz Fest or those who aren't, the Jazz Fest is divided into, it's the fairgrounds, the New Orleans Fairgrounds, and there is what they call different food areas. There's Congo Square, which is where Gambian Foods is, and that's I was saying earlier, like I don't play favorites, but as far as like what's my favorite food area, it's Congo Square because it's y'all, it's Palmer's, Venetian there.
Right.
I mean,
and then you have Marie, the sweet.
Right. Right. And Palmer's and Venetian and y'all are just my 3 favorites. Like I go there, that's sort of my first go-to is that station. And then there's what's called like food area 1, food area 2. There's, the other spaces through. But so when we talk about like Congo Square, that's the food area inside of Jazz Fest. And I would think that most people who are coming to the booth are very agreeable, very understanding. Like I would think that maybe there's sometimes that there might be a misunderstanding or something that you kind of have to smooth some ruffled feathers there. But I would think for the most part, people are pretty laid back.
No, Mali, it's amazing how the energy, the people that come to Jazz Festival is just, they're just unique.
Yeah.
They're just there with a whole holistic mind frame. They're there to have fun.
Right.
They're kind. They're loving. They're just so just amazing. And that's one of the things that also that's part of Jazz Festival. Once I set up everything, the booth and the food and all that, of course we have a great team. And my other thing is just also to just have this visit of just like a pelerinage. You are welcoming just these are old customers that's been coming to Jazz Festival for many, many years. You're talking about 10, 15, 20 years. So we build that rapport, that camaraderie, that friendship, and we just fellowship in a way that, we just enjoy each other. We have so many of that,
right.
going on the side.
It's so positive.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so positive. Because you would think in other spaces, there's a lot of people, 1,000 to 1,500 a day. You think about just in the normal public spaces where commerce happens, when people wait in lines or they're waiting for something, people just get irritated in that, but it's different there, And then also the energy that you're bringing and your team is bringing. Your business partner for Gambian Foods is
Tijan. Call him TJ. Another amazing friend, partner. He's a brother. And he's just a kind person and just very supportive. We work together so well.
And how long has he been partners with you?
He's been actually there a little bit longer than me because he's the one who originally had the booth. I just came in and joined him as a team.
Yeah.
And then from that point, there was a marriage that no ending.
And then bringing the history, the food expertise, bringing
Correct.
What you brought in from there. Where is he from?
He's from the Gambia.
He is too. Okay, so he had it. It was called Gambian Foods as he had the booth. Yeah, that's
Correct.
really
Right.
That's really beautiful that you were able to merge with him and then to like bring the culinary expertise into that space too.
That's true. And again, we do this in a very humble way. We work together and share the task and whatever we have going on, the preparation, we always there, for one another and work together as a team, and not only that, all the people that we have is some of them are cousins, family members and friends. And all these people are just looking forward to be part of the team and just keep repeating and coming back over and over again.
How many pounds of like something do y'all buy? If there's something that you're like, oh, we go through this many pounds of whatever it is, couscous or vegetables, like I mean, is it just like crazy amounts?
It's just wild amounts. I can tell you that.
Yeah, peanut sauce. I'm like, how many gallons of
gallons.
the thousands?
Yeah, just to give people an idea of those big pots of crawfish, boiled pots. You know, we will make at least 10 of those. You know, just
of the sauce.
Just of the sauce.
Yeah.
And each sauce is just a ladle of
right. Right. It's not a lot of sauce on a dish, but
we go through that sauce, you know, like nothing.
The dish that is one of my favorites is the one that Charlie's talking about. It's the tofu with the vegetables and the spicy peanut sauce. And it's one that, you know, last year when I was there, we were about to leave. We were actually like almost out. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I have a friend who's vegan. And I'm like, I've got to bring this to him. You know, I knew he wasn't coming to Jazz Fest. And it's one of those that is just vegan or not.
Of course.
It's what the flavors of it are just amazing. One of the things I was going to ask you but I think you've answered this question, you know, throughout, like, one of the things that I see with you is that your responses or your reactions or how you're choosing to see something, all of that is a choice. You know, I think there's what happens in front of us, what happens to us, what happens around us. We can react in so many different ways. And you know, in some cases, we may not really have a choice in how we respond, but to some degree, we do have a choice in how we allow ourselves to respond or feel, or, you know. And one of the things I was going to ask you is this your nature? Or is it something that, you know, sometimes my dad, for example, is very, he's very emotion forward. He's very open. He's very compassionate. Growing up, he wasn't. Because his father hadn't been. And he had I really want my dad to do a Raw Truth podcast with me, because he had some really interesting experiences that sort of opened his eyes to, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be that kind of a person. And he really, this is before I was born, but he really made conscious choices to respond to things and be emotionally different. And so that was sort of my question with you is, are you innately a positive person? Is it something that at one point, did you see things in your personality that you thought, yeah, I don't love that and I don't want to be that way? Or is it always just sort of been your spirit?
No, Mali, that's a very touching question and very dear to me. I was always naturally a happy kid. I did not want to have it any other way. Matter of fact, going to school, that was one of the things that I always imposed to the teachers or to the school. I'm here to have fun, you know. I'm here to play with my friends. Yes, I will do your work, but you know, I was the clown of the class, you know. And theater is also another subject that I was just so fascinated about, because here you are, you know, they call it a subject. Okay, you have to act. It's like, oh, really?
I get to act, yeah, right?
Of course. You know, so I did well in those aspects. That was my motivation, just to have good grades, and because there is a balance of just having fun. The other thing is that, you know, you were mentioning your dad, which is very touching in that sense, is that I had the same experience. My dad was an amazing, you know, person, great provider, just really, really have a big heart. But one of the things that was lacking is that just being, you know, just open and cuddling and just being close to your child, and you know, and it's very much understandable, because at his era, you know, we don't show feelings,
right?
You know, and that was a big miss for me. And matter of fact, I have 2 daughters, by the way. I did the opposite. I raised my daughters with just lots of love. They are all now, and that's because that's what I was missing. Right. So I give it to them.
Which is, it can go both ways. Sometimes that very thing that we don't love, it can be easy for someone to become that, and then they're underlying angry at themselves the whole time. You know, for they wish things were different. It takes a lot to change what that what you know, to do something different from what you know. And I think it's your daughters are incredibly fortunate that you did change that, that you sort of broke that cycle. And for me with my dad, I feel the same. And my mom, it was a similar thing that they both were so different in the ways that they were with me than what they had. And I feel really, really fortunate for that. And it's not lost on me that they did make those shifts. And so I think for your daughters, they know, I'm sure you've talked with them about that, and it's not that. I think you're right. Like in the older generations, it just was different.
It was.
And in some cases, it still is for a lot of people.
In that case, they were just showing this, I'm strong. I keep my feelings and I don't express it. If anything else, gosh, feelings are good.
Right.
You have to let them come out. Yeah. And that's one thing that I just cannot even control. This is this energy, this sun, this light, this spirit, and this energy that's in me. That's really what I came to realization as time goes along. To this day, I'm discovering myself in my higher self, that this is really who I am. At a point, Molly, that I have comments multiple times and just keep going. I was just never paying attention. I'll sit down with people in groups and talking to someone on the phone, thousands miles away. It's like, there's something about you, your energy. What is it? And of course, for me, I feel like I'm not doing anything extraordinary. I'm just being myself.
You're letting it out, though.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't hold back.
Right.
You have to just live with it. And to this day, I just came to an agreement, understanding that this is really who I am, and that's why I share that energy. I share that way of living, again, just simple things, a smile, a hug. That's also one of the things that we do at Jazz Fest. When we see each other, we hug, we just, smile to one another. We just exchange that energy, and it's just so contagious. It doesn't cost you anything.
But how many people maybe feel they feel compelled to do that, and then they hold it back, they hold it in, and you think people are fearful to let that emotion out, to show the appreciation or show the love or the joy. They're guarded, and that's I think thinking through of, if there's one thing that we could almost ask, is for people to try to just trust themselves and trust others, and kind of letting that down a little bit,
Without a doubt, Molly, I feel like, we should invest more into one another, and just take that barrier away from one another. We are closing ourselves into a spirit, energy it's not good, If anything else, if we open up, it's amazing what we receive,
But it's vulnerable for people. It's scary for people.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I will say to people, please just let go.
Even starting with something small like a smile.
Yes.
You're right. I think about even if you think about the people that are in your passing, that's the smallest thing of that eye contact and smile opens that up for those next connections to happen. But if we're looking down, if we're looking at our technology, it's not going to happen. It's even just, so you may be listening to this and you may say this, because I think if your answer had been, I was a very bitter person when I was younger. I was, and I made these changes and I kind of put myself out here to be this. I think some people listening would go, there's hope for me, And the fact that this is so innately part of you, it can feel a little, probably to someone like, well, that's just not me. I'm just not like that. But we would say, I think I'm speaking for Charlie and I both, of open some of that up.
I think that we all have it, Molly. It's just like this treasure that's in us that we just have to release. Again, just practicing just a smile. It's so pleasant, so joyful, and it just really penetrates your soul, and just recognize someone waving, and eye contact recognizing the other person. These are gestures that just make such a big difference. And I feel like, we have this richness that we are just missing out.
Right.
And especially in this world that we're living in nowadays, with technology and all that, don't get me wrong, it's great. But we need to create a balance. Let's get our richness out of our soul and just create this balance and live with one another in such a holistic way. It's just gestures.
And wherever you are, if that's something that seems really hard, those things that Charlie just said, that eye contact, that smile, that acknowledgement of someone, that's your first step.
That's it.
If you're already in that space, well, what's your next step? Someone that and I think people are afraid because there's also, these days, people can just be so, the way people respond to things can just be so different. Some people may state that they're not comfortable with being hugged. And it's like, I want to say that it's odd, but then you're going to offend the person who doesn't want to be hugged. They're going to say, you're calling me odd, and there's such a kind of a, like an interesting space where there's, it seems as if people are quick to be offended or people or whatever that is. And so I think it almost can feel paralyzing to someone. I don't know if that's okay. I don't know if this is okay to do. So I think in those spaces, those places or those people that you do know that you feel comfortable with,
right,
even a little bit more. And it's beyond then, it may not be, it's beyond the hello and acknowledgement. It's asking what's going on with them. I had a conversation with someone last weekend, someone who I've known for years. I hadn't seen her in a while. And I was just asking her a few questions just about what had been going on with her and her husband. She said, "Why are you asking?"
Oh, wow.
And I thought I was genuinely interested,
Yes,
and I hadn't seen her in a while, and I was curious about these other things that I had known had been going on. And I thought, wow, and so I said, "Just interested." And she's like, and she looked at me like, "What are you asking all this for?"
Nice.
And then I said, "I'm just interested. I hadn't seen you in a while." And I just and then she said, "Oh, okay." And then she started opening up.
Because you care. It's a way of showing care and the love that you have for the person, and you just want the best for the person.
So putting yourself out there and realizing that, whatever is that what you're doing now, push it a little bit more. And you may get a response like I did with her, and I just kind of smiled and kept going.
That's why the other thing is that you shouldn't be fearful of that. Take the fear out. There's no such thing, oh, he's going to, push me away, or no. If anything, it gives me even more encouragement. It's the other way around.
And with that person, I know her nature, and I also know she can be that way. And that was also why I was reaching out even more. So I didn't take it personally.
Good.
But I think that can be, maybe if that was someone who was a little hesitant, like that could be sort of like we said earlier, you get that positive response or you get something that sort of like nips it. So I think with all of us, when someone is reaching out to us, being open to that, if we're doing the reaching out to someone, making ourselves, putting ourselves to feel a little bit vulnerable and kind of doing it in a way that maybe we feel comfortable, but maybe it's a little bit more than what we usually do.
And there's so many other gestures. It can be eye contact, a handshake, or just a hello from a distance, again, a smile. You have to start somewhere, just start with something that's comfortable for you. And little by little, it's just contagious.
And things like for that person who may not be, the hugging type or as maybe outgoing, even a note, writing that person a note or, leaving them a card or, whatever those things are that can express just even that you're thinking of that person, so there's just so much that we can do that's sort of, so I think thinking of that when we, in the beginning, when I was saying of, even me reaching out to Charlie for this interview, I thought about it and we did the TV segment, those few days ago and it was just on my mind. And like, I just felt like it felt like the right thing to do. And I thought, I don't know how Charlie's going to feel about it, but I left you a voicemail and kind of said, if you're comfortable with it, okay. And if you're not okay, just think about it.
Molly, you were just very good at how you approach things and, the way your wordings and all that. For me, it was just very just inviting. And that's, as you can see, this is my first, and absolutely, it was very positive, and just give me that instinct of like, absolutely.
It feels trusting.
Totally.
And for me, I felt it was putting myself out there to have that ask for Charlie, because it could have completely that he said, you know what? No, I don't want to talk about these personal things, and that would have been okay too. So it's just, it's thinking about those things. And if, like we said earlier, that idea or that thing that we have, and if we think that feels right, or we think it's the right thing to do, try it, go for it, or run it by that person and kind of, or someone that's trusting, and then, kind of get that feedback from them. And sometimes it may be a great idea. Sometimes, maybe we keep exploring.
Let's not miss out
Right.
on that. We have to take a chance. We have to give also people a chance, at least that chance of saying yes or no. But let's just make that gesture and reach out.
Also, going back to what we said in the beginning of you and leading with love, choosing to live your life centered on joy. And one of the words that I used earlier was acceptance, because that's what I see. You're so accepting and welcoming of so many people. People, when you very first meet them, you very first see them, immediately you are warm and welcoming, loving and accepting. It's not that they have to prove, and then you are. It's your immediate first reaction. And I think that's it's a beautiful thing. And in the world now, we can all feel so guarded. And so I think that's one of the things that I see, is that leading with love and leading with acceptance that we can all learn from.
Without a doubt, we all have something great to offer. And people are just amazing. People are just have so much to offer. We have a lot of richness inside us, but we just need to open up and share that richness. And that's one of the things that we have to just practice. And that richness is just free. It's not something that you just go and buy at a supermarket or the most expensive store or place. It's within. We have it in us. So we have to share it and use it. And especially in these times that we're living in, and I feel like we just limiting ourselves, and we just making ourselves short in the quality of life. And the beautiful thing about us as human beings, we have choice. We can choose. We can choose happiness. We can choose joy, and we can choose peace also. These are things that it's a very simple way of life. And I intentionally, that's all where my richness is. That's all what I have, the most precious. And I do want to share it. It's not something that I want to keep for myself. It belongs to all of us.
It's something we can all learn from and take away. And I think that I do a pretty good job at it. I see you and I'm like, wow, I've got a lot to go of just the open arms and just the loving. So one last thing for those who are thinking, I haven't been to Africa, or I haven't been to the Gambia. You visit often. You go back home often. Once a year?
Very much. Once a year, once every 2 years or 3 years.
What do you recommend if someone's interested in exploring it? If someone wants to go as a tourist to visit, where would they start?
You have to just always dive into the locals. Go to Tangier. This is one of my favorite village in the coast of Gambia, River Gambia, and right there by the Atlantic Ocean. And it's a fishing village that's very eclectic. People from Europe and from all over the world that will just come around this part of Gambia and just live with the locals and experiment. The life of being in the Gambia. It's just living with nature and living with understanding the richness of what you have, make the best out of it. And Gambia is such a beautiful country People are just so beautiful and so wonderful and so lots of smiles and all, at a point where they call it the smiling coast. So you can see, after all these years being away, going back and forth, you always go back. It's always the same greatness, kindness, the smiles, the joy, and people just living in harmony with what they have and making the best out of it.
And the beauty.
And the beauty also of it, you know. So you can imagine being here also. Let's think for a minute what we have. We have so much to create an amazing life. Let's not waste it, you know. We have the comfort. We have America is a beautiful country, you know. But let's use it intentionally, the right way, through simple things. And that's what I will say that we're missing out. Let's not let that go, you know. We have to tap into that, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think on that note, we will encourage anyone who this is airing that Thursday of the second weekend. So if you're hearing it while Jazz Fest is still happening and you're around, go see Charlie and say, hey, and you'll know him when you see him. And then if not, and you're in New Orleans any other time for Jazz Fest, come in, see him. And then on the horizon, you may have another restaurant coming, maybe one day.
That's another, definitely something that I'm really putting it together. I definitely want to get back into the restaurant business, but this time with just a small restaurant, very cozy, very family oriented, 40 covers, where, I just intend to have fun with the customers, where we create, daily what we eat as we go,
So just a little teaser there, because it hasn't happened yet. We don't know where that is going to be, but it's something that is brewing in Charlie's mind. So we hope that, if you're here, look for him, feel some of that energy, introduce yourself, let him know you've heard this. And I really appreciate your time, Charlie.
Oh, Molly, thank you so much. I am so grateful. You're just an amazing person, and, you've been kind, just wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. It makes a huge difference.
Thank you.
In in this lifetime that we're in right now, this is one of the things that keeps spreading the greatness, the love, and also just caring about people. For me, what you do is just wonderful. It's just caring about people, and that's wonderful.
Well, thank you. This is about you, and I appreciate those words from me. So thank you so much, Charlie.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
A tremendous thank you to Charlie for sharing his time with us, for sharing his experiences and the experiences that have shaped him and formed him into the person that he is today. He has a beautiful spirit that I'm inspired by. I hope that you've enjoyed hearing this as well. And also, fun fact, just as we wrapped up the podcast, we weren't recording anymore, he shared about his daughter. He's got two daughters. One is in environmental engineering at LSU. The other, get this, y'all, she is a Disney princess, a true Disney princess. If you go to Paris Disney and you see Princess Talia, it's a really good chance that that's Charlie Mendy's daughter. So really fun fact, there's just so much there. Spending an hour with them, we could have talked for 5 more hours at least. So I really, again, appreciate his time and just sharing so much of himself with us, and sharing words that, it's one thing to hear them, it's another thing to act on them. And so taking away for ourselves, what are some of those little things that maybe we can do that sort of nudge ourselves out of our comfort zone so that we can bring more of this positivity, of this energy into the world around us. Always let me know what you think. You can reach out to me. I am registered dietitian Molly Kimball. And if you'd like more fueled wellness and nutrition, please head over to mollykimball.com. You can follow me, Molly Kimball RD, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you haven't yet, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Join us next time for another dose of fueled wellness and nutrition. Thanks for listening, and stay focused on living your strongest, healthiest life.